All right, class, welcome back. Now to get started on this top view. First thing I'm going to do is clear out the construction lines that I do not need, which is most of them. So let's trim those away. By the way, if you choose cutting edges, check this out. If you choose cutting edges trim, look down here, there's a trim option. You type TR, enter, and then type T again, T, enter. You can select a cutting edge, and I'm going to do that right here. And then you hit the enter button. And then you just pick the lines you want to get rid of. And look at that, they all go away to that line. They cut to that line, which is very useful. I'll demonstrate that one more time. TR, enter, and then another T, enter. And you select the line you want them to cut to, and then you hit the enter button. And then you select the lines to be cut. So that's a nice way to save some time. All right. So I need to project all this information upward. I already have these lines right here showing me where these holes are. But I also need the information showing me where all the information is for this hook. So let's zoom in on that and get those lines going upward. I'm going to copy just one of these randomly. I'll just pick that one and place that at all points of interest. And note, I am grabbing the points of intersection here, not the rounds themselves, but where the construction lines intersect that top surface. So that's going to be the upper surface. But keep in mind, we are also going to be doing these back edges. And I might just grab this one right here, right now. That'll make things a little more easy. So I'm going to click that right now. All right. And I'm going to pull back, zoom out just a smidge here, and get started. I'm going to place a construction line randomly here. Right about there. Get that on the right layer. Okay, and then I'm going to offset that the following distances. O, enter, 25, enter. So those are 25 across. That's the body or the handle of this. And then the hook itself goes another 37. So remember, we changed that 38 to 37. So I'm going to offset 37 from this edge back. Okay, looking good. So the handle portion, we'll knock that out real quick here. Just go to my circles, and remember these guys are 8 on the radius. And then this arc here, of course, just goes to the edges. There it is. And then we'll trim that out. All right, and then we'll make these lines that continue. And I'll just stop here for now. So that is what I'm calling the handle portion of this clamp hook. Done. Now for the fun part. Making this hook in the foreshortened view. We're going to do some serious ellipse work. Basically, I'll just draw the basic outline of this shape. It goes something like this. Okay, so that is kind of the real quick outline. I know this is down further somewhere, but that's just the basic shape. So let's put in these ellipses where they need to be, and that's really gonna direct things. So we'll do the 37 millimeter ellipse first. So its center point is right here, and we know that. There's the center line coming up. That's it right there. I can even make it a center line if that helps. And then its center line going this way is the back edge. So this back edge right here is its center point. Okay. So I'm going to delete this because that was just to show you roughly where things went here. Okay. Going to my ellipse tool, I'm going to click on that center point, and then I know it goes from this edge to that edge. One more time. Sorry, I missed a point there. So from the center point to the top to the back edge. There it is. So that is the outside of that ellipse right there. And I can just drag this line back here. And then the inside is from the same point, centered here and to there. Oops, I didn't mean to select circle, sorry. I should offset to its outer edge though before I do that. So this ellipse that goes in this slot, its standard, as you can see in this view, its standard radius is 13. So let me offset this line here 13 backward. Okay. And now I'm going to go to my ellipse tool and say it's the center is here and it goes from there to there to there. All right, so that distance again was 13 backward, and that's true size, because so the widths, the top to bottom distances in this view are true size. It's the x-axis that's getting squished in this view. Okay, so things are looking pretty good here. Let's turn off the center construction lines and do a little cleanup. So this is starting to take shape here. I do need to put in a fillet on this in this end, and I need to connect these guys. So that's pretty easy. They will just go to there. Of course, I need to put the fillets in on this side as well. Trim this piece out. Okay, doing the fillets on this side. Let's put the construction line back. So I know, well, really, I need to find the center of this area. That should be pretty easy. It's just the midpoint of that line. And I also need to go over the 12. So I'm going to offset 12. Take this line and go over 12. There it is. And I'm going to find the midpoint of this line here. So I'm going to copy or just make a construction line either way to the midpoint. There we go. And now I can go to my ellipse tool, click on the center point, and then both corners. There you go. And of course, I'm only keeping this edge. I'm going to do the exact same thing here. In fact, I could just copy this one if I wanted. I could just copy the portion I'm going to keep here. I can copy the whole thing either way. So copy it from there to there. There you go. In this case, we're just keeping this little bit right here. Turn off the construction lines and trim this out properly. There you go. Looking pretty good here. Looking pretty sharp. We got to do this guy. So again, what would be a normal fillet on this side is actually an ellipse on this side. So let's turn our construction lines back on. And find that guy. So it's 13 millimeter radius. So the distance from this edge backward would be 13 millimeters. So O, enter, 13, enter. I'm going to click this line and go back 13. And oh, that's a coincidence. That's exactly what this one is. Huh, that's funny. If I hadn't deleted this portion, I could just have used that one because it's the exact same size. Okay, well anyway, we can do that again. So that distance is correct. Now we just need to find the center line of this guy, and you know, I think I am just going to use this guy here because this is the exact same size ellipse, and that's going to save me some time. All I got to do is flip it around here, or redraw it. Maybe I just do that. Maybe I just go to my ellipse command and say center, center, center. There it is. Why don't I just do that? So that is the same size because I know that because that is a 13 millimeter radiused hole, which would have been a standard hole, as you can see in this view. So just to make perfectly clear, this arc right here and this arc right here, that's what we're talking about. They are the same size. They are both, and I can prove that to you here. If I go to my radius dimension, just to remind you that that guy was 13 and this guy also 13. So I can just copy this one, easy enough. And I need to make it touch both of these. That's perhaps the trickiest part. Let me hit move on this, enter, grab this guy. And so he's gonna be on this line. I'm gonna zoom in a little tighter. What's gonna happen though, as we move this guy is this is a little tricky. It's gotta become tangent. So it's gonna be where these intersect perfectly. Yeah, so that's fun. we're gonna eyeball that a little bit. So I'm gonna put my nearest snap on and grab this guy and move him until he's just kissing this guy so they can trim each other perfectly, right? Yeah, I think that's about it right there. And let's see if I can get that to trim out nicely now. Yeah, so there we go. That's trimming out, and that's trimming out, and then this and this. Tell you what, I'm going to move it over just a smidge more. Trying to get it to lock in here. Guess it's not going over quite enough. It's kind of a pain. You could fake this if you wanted. I mean, the whole thing is a little faked because foreshortened views are not dimensioned views. I'm just drawing a line here that I can actually cut this to, so I know it's cutting, and then trim this off as well. Now I'll delete that. And if you are feeling like the ends are not right on the money, you can always move them. You know, you could move this away and then move it back until it actually makes contact. Same with this guy. You can move that away and move it back until it's totally making contact there. Okay. Not an easy thing to do, blending one ellipse into another, which is what we did here, making one ellipse tangent to another. Tricky. It did require a little eyeballing, if you will. Not critical. None of this is going to be dimensioned. So no foreshortened objects, and that was, and all these arcs, all these ellipses we made would ever be dimensioned. It's just a representation, you know. We only dimension things in the true size view. So we will be dimensioning the hook portion down here and the handle portion up here, or both of them in this view, but nothing in the foreshortened view. Okay, so the last bit of this top view that I want to knock out is the backside of the hook. So you can see a little bit of the backside. There it is. And what does that look like? Well, it's super simple. You just copy the existing, all of this hook stuff. So I'm just going to grab it all like this and hit copy, C-O, enter. And I'm just going to move it from this point to that point, right there. Okay. And now you can see what would be object lines and what would be hidden lines. Do you want to show the hidden lines? There's a lot of them. Do you just want to show the object edges? That's a good question. Let's do it in full, and then you can make that decision in a bit. So if we're doing this in full, I'm going to copy this whole thing and move it over like we've done in the past and say what's going to be hidden and what's going to be object. It's going to get a little confusing, but it'll be fun. Turn off my construction lines. So this is object. This is not. I'm going to delete the parts that are not. So delete that, trim this out. Trim this out. All right. And then make this solid lines. They would go from quadrant to quadrant. And there to there. Get this little piece trimmed out. All right. Now in the little line segment up at the top here as well. Trim that little guy out. Okay, so if you were just going to do object lines, you would be content with this. And a lot of people would say that's enough. That is more than enough for representing this hook. But if you really wanted to show all of its edges, you would show the ones that we just trimmed away as hidden lines. So that would just be like this little portion right here, and I'm gonna make those hidden lines so you can see what I'm talking about. And then these guys here. So I'm gonna put those all on the hidden layer. And then I'm gonna trim away what I don't need here. Oh, that's interesting. It's turning it back to object. That's peculiar. Okay. Make those hidden again. And then move that. So M, enter, select all those guys. Move it from there to there. Not sure what happened to this piece here. There you go. So that would be showing this in excruciating detail. And whether or not you choose to do the inside edge here as a hidden line, you know what, I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm not going to require that. I'm going to leave it on mine since I finished. But yeah, that's basically it. So all that's left now is the dimensioning.